and welcome to How to Cook Great Food. With thousands of recipes and millions of views, why not subscribe to our channel and join the family?
Welcome back once again to howtocookgreatfood.com. If you haven't already, please click that button and subscribe to our channel. On the menu today, and by popular demand, I have to say, I've had lots of emails for me to do this again. We're going sweet and sour pork. This is my little version. I've got some lovely spices in there: garlic, ginger, a little bit of star anise, a little bit of dried chili. I've also got a bit of food colour in there, which you may even see a bit on my hand, which I've just got on there. So be careful with your food colour, which is optional, by the way. Really delicious. Let's go and do it. Okay, let's take a look at some of the ingredients we're going to be using today. Star of the show there, pork. Now I'm using a belly pork with a little bit of fat on it. I actually quite like the fat. You can use a different cut if you wished. Some black pepper. Here I've got just some white vinegar. Here I've got some ginger that we're going to fry a bit later. And there's some more ginger there, which I've cut, bigger. That's to make the sauce with. A little bit of star anise, some chopped garlic, a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of brown sugar. You could use white, no problem. Chopped onions or sliced onions, a little bit of dried chili, and then a couple of bits of veg. I've got some carrots cut nice and small and some peppers at the back. So the first thing we're going to do is make the sauce, then we're going to fry the pork, then we're going to combine the two. Okay, so just need a pot or a pan, and anything would do. We're going to start off by putting in our vinegar, that little splash of soy sauce, our sugar. Like I say, you could be using a white sugar. Just going to add a little touch of water to that. Then I'm going to add, these are completely optional but I like them, the star anise, a little bit of dried chili, and our chunky ginger. I'm going to chop more soy sauce there in the pot. So regarding the amounts here, you want about equal parts of sugar to vinegar in volume. Tiny amount, like a kind of, less than a quarter of the amount of soy sauce. Now this is up to you though. You can really play around with this and get it exactly how you like. You want it a little bit more sweeter, get a little bit more sugar in there. Now you could even, if you wanted, add a nice dollop of ketchup in there. Ketchup works wonders. Ketchup basically is sugar and vinegar, and it works really well. I'm not doing that today. Okay, what we're going to do is, as you can see, this is already boiling away. We just want to cook this for about 4 minutes. Let it reduce down a little bit. And that's pretty much done. Okay. So that's just a few minutes on the go there. Now it's very thin at the moment, but as that cools down, it's going to thicken slightly with the sugar. The more sugar you've got in there, the thicker it will be. So I'm going to turn that heat off. We're going to set that aside, and really simply we can now move on to the pork. Okay, so we've got a wok here now with a little touch of oil. You don't want too much oil because you're going to get quite a bit of fat coming out of your meat, but you need some just to kind of get it going. Now we need to get this really nice and hot. Now the oil you use is up to you. I'm just using a bit of sunflower here, but you could be using anything you want. What we're going to do, it's quite noisy, I'm going to drop in our belly pork and we're going to stir fry it for 5 to 6 minutes. We want to get it nice and brown. Now the only other thing I'm going to do is add a little touch of salt. I'll be back in about 5 to 6 minutes. Keep stirring, guys. Okay, this is about 4 minutes. It's starting to brown, but not done yet. So like I said, just look at this fat, which I like in it. You might not be using belly pork, for example, but I've got a lot of fat on this. That really needs to be cooked. The meat's probably not too bad right now, but the fat needs to keep going. So another couple of minutes to keep stirring. As you can see, we're getting quite a little bit more of the fat from that. So as you can see now, it's browned really well cooked. Very important this part, guys, because if you don't cook it now, we're not going to have time to cook it, because the next step is quite fast. So really make sure you've got a nice crispy browned cooked pork. Now you may be able to see there, we've got a huge amount of fat that's come from that. Way too much for what we need. So we need to reduce that literally by about 90%, which I'm going to do. Now just before I do that, I'm going to do something which is totally optional, and that is I'm going to add a little bit of a food colour. This is a kind of orange red. You don't need loads of it. And like I say, just totally optional. You don't have to be doing this. I think it gives it a nice effect. That's tiny, tiny amounts I'm putting there. And that's a powder form, but obviously you can get that in a liquid form. Yeah, it gives it a lovely sort of visual effect. Kind of gives it more of a kind of char siu pork look to it. As you can see, as it just works its way onto the meat. Right, so what I need to do now is reduce the content of that oil down 90%. Then I'll be back and we're going to get this together in absolutely no time. Okay, so as you can see, tiny amount of the oil. Now use the same pork oil because that's got loads of flavour in it. So let's take a look what we got. There's our pork. Here is our sauce. You don't need lots of this because it's very strong. And what I've done is I've just taken out that ginger, chilli and star anise. Now, again, really, really hot. We're going to go really fast now. Super hot, bit of oil. We're going to go in with our ginger, our garlic, maximum heat all the way now. Then we're going to go in with our onions. The carrots, if you're using them, I mean, you don't even have to put carrots in. Or perhaps a little bit of celery might be nice. And we've got a really kind of fairly dry, smoky pan here. And we want to get, you know, a little bit of kind of blackened vegetables here. I quite like that. Okay, at this stage now, we're going to go back in with our pork. Add some black pepper. And then we're going to throw this around just for like 2 minutes or so. High heat all the way. Okay, we've got some magnificent pork here, some wonderful flavours. We're now going to add in some bell peppers. I'm using red and yellow. Of course, you could use some green if you wanted. Now we're really nearly there because I want those peppers to be really quite crispy. Simply, we're going to add in that beautiful, quick, sweet and sour sauce. And for like 60 seconds, we're going to throw this around in the pan on this really high heat. Now, if you wanted, you could be finishing this off with some chunky kind of pineapple or something. That will give it a nice sweetness. Some green onions or spring onions, or maybe some cashew nuts. That's up to you. I'm going just like this today. Right, off goes the heat. That is about it. Let me stick that on the plate. Okay, there you go. I think that's really good. I mean, hundreds of ways of making this, and the sauce especially, and sweet and sour sauce can be made in many, many ways. I think there's a few other different types I've got up on the channel. I really like that. Hope you do too. I've had loads and loads of requests for me to do this again. Here it is. Hope you like it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you soon. Lots of love.
With thousands of recipes and millions of views, why not subscribe to our channel and join the family?